Can you disinherit a family member because he hates durians? Can I leave my entire asset to my pet husky after I am gone? Hello and welcome to What is the Matter, where we discuss about money matters. Today we are going to explore the 9 unusual questions and answers about wills in Singapore. I promise these questions and answers will blow your mind. Will you subscribe to my channel now? Before we start, please note that this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be relied upon as any kind of financial and/or legal advice. Entertainment only, huh? 1. If someone wanted to leave their fortune to their pet parrot, can they do that legally in Singapore? In Singapore, while you cannot directly leave your fortune to your pet parrot, you can make provisions for the care and maintenance of your pet through a trust or by designating a caretaker. This can ensure that your beloved parrot receives the necessary care and attention even after your passing. However, it is essential to work with a legal professional to understand the best approach for providing for your pet within the confines of the law. 2. If someone wants to be buried with their favorite car, is that legally possible in Singapore? In Singapore, it is not legally possible to be buried with personal property, including a favorite car, due to practical and regulatory reasons. The practice of burying personal property with an individual is not recognized under Singaporean law. Instead, the burial of a deceased individual is typically governed by established customs and regulations that prohibit the burial of non-biodegradable items or materials that may pose environmental hazards. 3. Are there cases where a family member disputed the validity of a will based on a strange or superstitious reason? There have been instances where family members or beneficiaries have contested a will in Singapore based on superstitious beliefs or cultural traditions. These disputes might arise due to the perception that certain provisions in the will could bring bad luck or negative consequences to the family. For example, in some cases, disputes have occurred over the distribution of assets believed to carry negative energy or associations, leading to disagreements among family members and beneficiaries. 4. What are some of the most common misconceptions people have about drafting their wills? Misconception: I'm too young to write a will. Debunking: writing a will is essential regardless of age, especially if you have assets or dependents you wish to protect. Misconception: I don't have enough assets to warrant a will. Debunking: a will is not just about wealth, but about ensuring that your possessions are distributed according to your wishes, no matter their value. Misconception: my family will sort everything out after I'm gone. Debunking: without a clear will, the distribution of assets can lead to disputes and legal complications among family members. 5. Is it possible to leave behind a digital inheritance, such as social media accounts or cryptocurrencies, in a will in Singapore? In Singapore, it is indeed possible to leave behind a digital inheritance, including social media accounts and cryptocurrencies, through careful estate planning. While the legal landscape surrounding digital assets is still evolving, individuals can take specific measures to address these assets in their wills and estate plans. Regarding social media accounts, individuals can designate a digital executor or specify their wishes for the management or closure of their accounts after their passing. They can provide instructions on how they want their digital presence to be handled, whether they wish for their accounts to be memorialized, deactivated, or deleted. Communicating these preferences clearly in a will can guide the executor in executing the individual's digital wishes. When it comes to cryptocurrencies, it's crucial to document the details of digital wallets, private keys, and any relevant access information. This information should be stored securely and shared with a trusted executor or beneficiary. By incorporating these specifics into their estate plans, individuals can ensure the smooth transfer or management of their cryptocurrency holdings in accordance with their intentions. 6. Can a will be drafted in such a way that its provisions are enforceable only after a specific condition, like the winner of the next World Cup being a particular team? While conditions in a will are permissible, they must be reasonable, certain, and not contrary to public policy. Setting a condition based on unpredictable events, such as the winner of the next World Cup being a specific team, would likely render the condition unenforceable due to its uncertainty and reliance on external factors beyond the control of the parties involved. In general, it's advisable for wills to be drafted with clear and feasible provisions to ensure the proper execution of the testator's intentions. Working with a knowledgeable estate lawyer can help ensure that the conditions set in a will are legally valid and enforceable, thus preventing potential disputes or challenges to the will's execution. 7. Are there any specific cultural or traditional practices in Singapore that often find their way into wills, and how do you accommodate them in the legal framework? In Singapore, a multicultural society with diverse ethnic traditions, certain cultural and traditional practices often find their way into wills, reflecting the values and beliefs of the testator. These practices may include specific funeral rites, the distribution of assets according to cultural norms, or the allocation of funds for religious ceremonies or charitable activities aligned with cultural customs. To accommodate these cultural and traditional practices in the legal framework, estate lawyers in Singapore work closely with clients to understand their specific cultural backgrounds and preferences. They assist in incorporating these practices into the will through clear and precise language that adheres to legal standards and requirements. 8. Can a will be written on unusual places such as a napkin or a piece of clothing and be valid? In Singapore, the law requires that in order for a will to be valid, it must meet specific formalities outlined in the Wills Act. These formalities include, among other things, the requirement that a will should be in writing, signed by the testator, or someone authorized by the testator, in the presence of at least 2 witnesses who are also present at the same time. Writing a will on unconventional surfaces like a napkin or a piece of clothing could present challenges in meeting these formal requirements. A piece of clothing or a napkin may not provide a suitable medium for a will due to the potential for it to be easily lost, damaged, or misinterpreted. To ensure the validity of a will in Singapore, it's advisable to draft it on a traditional paper or other durable materials, following the legal formalities outlined in the Wills Act. 9. Can I include my secret recipe for chili crab in my will in Singapore? While you may not be able to include the secret recipe for chili crab directly in your will, you can certainly make provisions for the dissemination or preservation of the recipe after your passing. For instance, you could leave instructions for your loved ones or a designated individual to inherit the recipe and continue its legacy. You can also specify that the recipe should be passed down to a particular family member or friend whom you trust to uphold its secrecy and culinary tradition. If you watch until this far, will you like my video and subscribe? See you in my next video.